What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Hakman, and welcome to a beautiful sunny day in Alberta where I'll be reviewing a 2021 Volkswagen Atlas Powerline. Let's see if it's better than a minivan, a Toyota, and a Honda. Before I start this review, I would like to thank Gem Autos again for lending me this vehicle. If you guys are looking for a gem of a deal, their address is 2730 23rd Street Northeast, Calgary, Alberta. Their phone number is 403-464-5224. Their website is www.gemautos.ca and Facebook at Gem Autos Calgary. At first glance, the 2021 Atlas actually looks much better than the last generation. With that Aurora Red Chroma paint job, it looks really nice. The R-Line package gives it a better appearance than the base model. And what is the R-Line package? Well, starting from that R-Line badge, it has 21-inch rims, comes with a panoramic sunroof, and it has a more aggressive grille and front bumper. The price tag on this Excel line with the R-Line package is around $58,000 roughly. Now you guys might be thinking that's a lot of money, but you'd be surprised that the Honda Pilot and the Toyota Highlander, when they're spec'd out, they cost around the same, if not more. When it comes to the looks, I do prefer the Atlas over the Highlander and the Pilot. I have no complaints with the interior as well. Just like that Audi Q5, they're using some sort of rubbery plastic that doesn't feel cheap, and it's all around the dash, even like on your door. The door plastics that are beige are a little on the plasticky side, but they don't feel cheap. The seats are very comfortable. I really like the seats on it. The redesigned steering wheel also feels really good to hold when you're driving. Here's a shot of the Toyota Highlander and the Honda Pilot along with the Atlas. The Honda interior right off the back looks very plain. Based on the colors, the Toyota color scheme is the best. I do not like the steering on it. I think if I were to pick one out of the three, I would pick the Toyota interior. That being said, the Atlas gains advantage because of that digital cockpit. It adds a more premium feel to the Atlas along with the amazing functionality that digital cockpit has. It's definitely a tough call between the Highlander and the Atlas. In the end, it will just boil down to personal preference and what you're looking for in a vehicle. Let's do a sound check. See, all the new cars now usually have a rev limiter on, so they don't rev past 4,000. I'm going to go quickly check how this sounds from outside and then come back in. Now that engine actually sounds really sweet. You guys might be wondering what is under the hood. It's a 3.6 liter VR6. Now in Volkswagen terminology, that is a narrow angle between cylinder banks, and there's a single cylinder head covering both banks of the cylinders. It produces 276 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. This is where both Honda and Toyota outshine the Atlas, the Honda making 280 horsepower and the Toyota making 295 horsepower. The Honda uses a 9-speed automatic and the Toyota uses an 8-speed automatic. In terms of torque, all three are very similar. The front wheel drive, the 4Motion on it feels very front wheel bias. Like the minute you give it gas, you can feel the front wheel spinning first and then the rear wheels engaging. The HALDEX system is usually used on most of the Volkswagens and now Audis as well. Yeah, I feel like it's a little confused when it comes to the gears if you're not changing them yourself.
Please follow the Highway 772 for 6 kilometers.
As I was saying, the lane assist on this is pretty good. Right now I'm not doing anything. It's just doing everything on its own. And it's doing a pretty good job of it. But if you obviously aren't holding on to it, it's going to start beeping like crazy for you to take over the steering wheel. All these new cars that are coming out, they really have a good lane assist, just like that Audi Q5 that I was test driving last week. That thing, obviously with that air ride suspension, you can compare this with that. It is on the firm side when it comes to the ride, but nothing uncomfortable. All the options that are coming in newer vehicles, like your heated cooling seats, heated steering, heated windshield, all lane assist, side assist. The side assist on this is more like a Honda and Toyota. It's inside that mirror. Like I had said before, I prefer if it's integrated into the housing. But to each their own. Everyone has a different opinion on these because all manufacturers do it differently. Now moving on to the segment, things I like about the Volkswagen Atlas. The first thing would be the digital cockpit. The layout is crystal clear, the image is really good, doesn't matter what the driving conditions are, and you have a lot of options of changing stuff around if you don't like a certain setup. As far as the functionality goes, it's highly functional and you can change a lot of things using the steering controls available to you. The engine sound the VR6 I find is better than the V6 that the Toyotas and the Hondas use. It just has a little different tone to it because of that narrow angle. The sound it makes is very nice to the ears and the engine just purrs through to redline. It comfortably fits 2 car seats on the captain's bench seats. I find the captain's bench option better than having a console in the middle because it's just easier access to the third row, and even the third row, the space is more than enough. Third row seating was another aspect of the car that I really appreciated because most of the third row seats are not really usable. In the Atlas though, you can easily see 2 adults for a semi-long journey. Pretty impressed by the handling. The handling is very nimble on it.
Please follow the road for 2 kilometers.
For such a big car, it does well around the corners and gives you good feedback. Although these electronic steerings tend to give you less feedback than hydraulic, but that's what most of the manufacturers these days have shifted to. Now moving on to the things I don't like about the Volkswagen, the first one would be the transmission. There's a lag in the transmission. You really have to put your foot down in order to get the car to go. Yeah, when it pulls, but I find most of the time it's just confused. The lag in the transmission does take a lot away from the driving experience because the engine itself really wants to pull hard. I do wish they had pedal shifters because that would have solved this problem, because if you're in sport mode and if you just want to downshift, it's right there. I was actually a little confused as to why Volkswagen didn't have the pedal shifters in the R line. For those of you who are wondering if this is better than a Honda or a Toyota or a minivan, when it comes to comfort, it's better than a Honda and Toyota. When it comes to fuel economy, it's not better than a Honda and Toyota. When it comes to practicality, I think it's a very practical vehicle, especially because it has those captain seats. The third row is actually usable, unlike most of the cars that come in, and it is 3 inches longer than the previous generation. If you have a family of 4, you put the third row down, you have a lot of space to put your luggage in. The reason I find this more practical is that you can easily haul your family of 5 or even 6 people. If you want comfort and better interior styling, I'd go for this over a minivan or even a Honda Pilot or a Toyota Highlander. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching the episode. See you guys next week. Hakman out.